Okay, we're just at storage and we're just about to head out, so I'm going to show you how to safely hitch the caravan to the car. Okay, so first things first, into the caravan and take the step out. So we leave our fridge ajar when we're not here just to allow the air into it so it doesn't go mouldy. Need to remember to close that up and lock it. We open all the blinds. I don't know if this is necessarily a rule, but we do open the blinds for travelling and we leave them closed when the van's in storage. Now the weather's getting warmer, I do leave this one open because the heat can build up in here and it can crack the glass. Okay, so we keep the Aquaroll and the Waste Master in here. The bed's not made up, but there is a reason why it's like that, and that's because our TV is wedged under there so it doesn't move. Okay, so another thing we need to do, or two things that are actually underneath here. One is to turn the black button on, and the other, sorry about the camera work, that's closed. It was open already, but just make sure that it's open for travel. It doesn't actually need to be on this journey, but if there's any water that's been sat there for the last week, it helps just to drain it a bit. So another thing to do is just make sure that all the cupboards are closed. I think this is more important when you're packing up from site, but because we've obviously towed the caravan back to storage and we've not used it since, I'm fairly confident that everything is stowed. This is very important. So this door is fixed here by a latch, and if that latch is not in place, then when you're turning corners, this is just going to slam into here and it can cause damage, and it's not covered by warranty because obviously that's user error. So yeah, just make sure everything's fastened, everything's stowed. Right, let's go outside. So at this point, I'm going to put the step back in. You do not want to drive away leaving your step because it's going to be an awkward few days away when you've got to jump into the caravan. Another blind. Okay. Let's lock the caravan door. Sarah's just putting on the mirrors. These are the Malenko Aeros. And the other side. Okay, so we are going to do a couple of jobs in here. And the first one, again, I know I haven't used the gas since we left site. But the first one is just to make sure that the gas is switched off. Okay, now we take the hitch cover off. Okay, so now, first thing, just make sure the handbrake's on before we do any of this. So I'm going to take our two locks off. They're both Alco. This is the Alco hitch lock. It is very heavy duty. It's not to say that people won't get through it if they've got enough time, but it's going to make an awful loud noise and take a long time to cut through that. Okay, so weather cap off, and then unlock the first piece. So that is one part of the lock. It covers the lock that's underneath. These are unique. Put that on tight last time. So these locks actually fit into a piece here that is on the chassis, and because of the shape, they're all numbered differently. So this is a number 44 that goes with this particular trim. So that goes through. This here only fits the larger spoke, so it can only go, it can't go in that one because of the cap. It can only go in that one, that one, that one, or that one. Okay, so now we're going to put the legs up, which are also known as steadies. We could do it the keep fit way. Done. So another pink job. The tow bar in place. Okay, so Sarah's just going to move the car into place. Okay, so now we'll turn the motor mover on. Okay, so we'll just put the little red plastic key in and turn it on. Okay, so using the wrench, we'll gauge the motor mover, and then okay, turn the motor mover on. Now everything is ready to go apart from the handbrake. We can release the handbrake now because the motor mover is engaged, so the Caravan is not going anywhere. What you do have to be careful of with is the back swinging out. So you need to make sure you've come out enough before you start turning. Okay, so we just bring it up to the tow bar. Okay, so now, first things first, we just lower it onto the tow bar. There we go. Okay, so that is now on. One thing I do before I do anything else is now just wind it up, just to make sure that the car lifts with it. It's just a little extra. Doesn't help that our car likes to go up and down whilst we're doing it. Okay, so I'm fine with that. Now you can see under here, the wheel has to go into these two grooves. It just stops the wheel when you're driving spinning around in the wind, the draft, and then obviously the wheel itself can actually unwind itself. Okay, so lift that up into its position. Make sure that that's locked off tight. Make sure that the handbrake's down. Okay, so next thing is to put the Alco stabilizer on. There's a little bit here which does go green, but I was told to use my nails to just make sure that it's in place. Okay, the next thing is to connect the breakaway cable. So basically, if your car and your Caravan become detached on the road, this will pull and it will pull the handbrake up, which means your Caravan doesn't carry on going down the motorway following you. Don't really know what's better, but okay, now we connect the electrics. 13 pin. Twist. Now as soon as that makes contact, you can hear There's now power to the Caravan, and the ATC light has gone green, and that's what we want. Okay, so now I'm going to turn the motor mover off. My climbing and jumping skills have got a lot better since we've been caravanning. Okay, this is really important. This is important as not driving off with the handbrake on. We must remember to disengage this because it will just shear off. Okay, and then we'll turn this off. I'll leave the key in because there's a good chance I'm going to use the motor mover at the other end. And then lock it up. Okay, so we put all our bits and pieces away. Okay, now it's time for our final checks. Okay, so now just one final check, just to make sure everything's locked and tightened off. Windows are checked from the inside. Again, it's always easier from this way because the last time you were in the Caravan, it was in a state to be towed. Whereas when you've been away, you know, you might have had skylights open, you might have had the TV aerial up, so there's a bit more to check. Make sure these little flaps are down. Okay. That's the lights checked. Okay, so I've driven it probably a good few hundred yards. Wherever we go, I always like to just give it a little drive. They've got some speed bumps here. Gives us a good chance just to check nothing's come loose, everything's still in place. And we are good to go.